Good morning and welcome back to this series of doing a Mead a week in 2019. First part of the video is just going to be a quick rundown on where I am. From this demijohn over to the bucket, that is week 1, week 2, week 3. Wildflower Mead has been racked into secondary. It's doing around a bubble every 2 minutes. I'm going to leave it for another 2 weeks, then look at the airlock. If it's still bubbling, another week. If not, I'm going to stun the yeast so that I can do a next racking and start back sweetening. Week number 2 was a green tea, cinnamon and clove mead. I'll put another picture up here on this video. It started out very dark. It's now got more of an orange, almost like a little bit of a tea-like hue. Today this is getting its first racking to come off some of the lees here. I'll do that next. I don't know if I'm going to show it to you on the video. Week number 3 is black cherry melomel. I've been punching the cap every day, which is dropping all the fruit pulp down to the bottom to get some oxygen exchange going. I'm going to give it a good degas today, which I've been doing a bit of a light degas every day. Give it some more nutrients and then seal that away for another week before I rack it. If you hold on, I'll clear some of the space here and I'll get this one ready for racking. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, now I'm ready to start racking the green tea mead. Up on the shelf there I've got a demijohn filled with 4.5 litres of slightly warm water and the equivalent dosage that I need of star san. That has been sitting there for a few minutes. I'm now going to decant the star san into the bucket where I've got all of my other brewing equipment using the gallon siphon. That will empty the star san and I can immediately use that one to rack this one. So let's get that going. There we go, that just takes 2 or 3 minutes to empty. Once it's empty enough, I just empty the rest into the bucket. Don't worry about any foam remaining inside the demijohn. It is an entirely food safe chemical and it will not have any effect on any of your brews that come in contact with it. So I'll be back in a sec. There we go, I've emptied the star san from this demijohn. I've put that one back up there, let it rest for a minute. Add some water to the clean demijohn. And I'll get into racking this mead. There we go, quick and simple. It's all flowing now into the little bit of water I left at the bottom. It'll all come off the lees there. Come off the spices because the spice level will now be right. I can always adjust the spice level afterward, just before I start clarifying it. This is just going to take 2 or 3 minutes. And then I'll get back to the black cherry melomel. I'll see you then. Okay, now I'm ready to start racking the green tea mead. Up on the shelf there I've got a demijohn filled with 4.5 litres of slightly warm water, and the equivalent dosage that I need of Starsan. That has been sitting there for a few minutes. I'm now going to decant the Starsan into the bucket where I've got all of my other brewing equipment using the gallon siphon. That will empty the Starsan, and I can immediately use that one to rack this one. So let's get that going. There we go, that just takes 2 or 3 minutes to empty. Once it's empty enough, I just empty the rest into the bucket. Don't worry about any foam remaining inside the demijohn. It is an entirely food safe chemical, and it will not have any effect on any of your brews that come in contact with it. So I'll be back in a sec. There we go, I've emptied the Starsan from this demijohn. I've put that one back up there, let it rest for a minute. Add some water to the clean demijohn. And I'll get into racking this mead. There we go, quick and simple. It's all flowing now into the little bit of water I left at the bottom. It'll all come off the lees there. Come off the spices, because the spice level will now be right. I can always adjust the spice level afterward, just before I start clarifying it. This is just going to take 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll get back to the black cherry melomel. I'll see you then. Racking is now complete. I can pop in a sanitized airlock. And that can now go back into the brewing room for the next 4 weeks until it's fully fermented. Right, now it's time to take care of the black cherry melomel. This has been in primary soak at the moment for 1 week. It's been getting a little bit of air and some agitation to get rid of some of the gas. It is still fermenting quite well, as you can see by the bubbler. What I need to do now is getting it ready for the final part of primary fermentation. I'm going to add some more nutrient after I degas it using my plastic brewing spoon. It's just a matter of opening the bucket, checking for any visual signs that anything's wrong. All looks good. Stir it quite well. This will get rid of most of the built up carbon dioxide. You don't want to be adding a powder directly into the fermenting must, because you'll get a boil over. This entire desk, most of the floor, will be covered in foam. Colour wise, it's looking amazing. I've started this out on 1 teaspoon of nutrient. Just going to add half to another teaspoon. And it goes. Quick stir. Put all this away. And replace the lid. This will now go back into the brewing room, stable temperature, and it'll sit there for another week before I rack the liquid must off the cherries, off any lees, into a clean, sterilised demijohn, and I could get secondary fermentation going for another 4 weeks. Running the numbers on this one, it started at 1.093, temperature corrected to 1.094. If it ferments all the way down to 0.990, it'll come out at around 13.5%. It's going to be a nice one to age. Leave it in the bottle to age at a nice dark, stable temperature. I'll have this one over Christmas. Next part of the video is getting this week's brew ready. It is a Bilbomel, which is basically just a blueberry mellomel. It's going to be done over 2 days, because the first day I'm going to get the fruit ready. Because I bought it from a market and I'm not 100% sure of the cleanliness of it, I'm going to pulp it, add some water, and add sodium metabisulfate, or just Canton tablet, to kill any yeasts or bacteria, but I need to leave it stand for 24 hours. So the first part of this brew day is going to be the preparation of the must before honey is added. The second part of the brew day is going to be adding the honey, rehydrating the yeast, and getting the brew going. Just going to clear the table again, get all the equipment ready, and I'll be back in a sec. And I'm back now. Let's start on phase 1 of the Blueberry Bilbomel. I've got a blender here, which I've cleaned with PBW, Professional Brewer's Wash. I've also rinsed it well. Bucket of sanitizer and an extra basin. 1.6 kilos, that's just over 3 pounds of frozen then defrosted blueberries. So I'm going to knead the bucket, going to need to sterilize this, and the easiest way is just transfer I have all of the other little bits of equipment in here. Pick up some of the liquid and give it a good swirl. As I said previously, you don't have to worry about any of the foam. can now move this basin out of the way, bring the bucket up and fill it with 4 pints of bottled water. There we go, I have another bottle at hand. The initial mix for the bulbamel needs to be just around half this bucket. This is a 10 litre, it's just over 3 gallons US, over 2 gallons UK. Fill it to around half, which gives me enough space for about a quarter of honey and water tomorrow. So step one, this is very simple. Blueberries into the blender. Add a little bit of water. And pulse to mash it up. Does not need to be super fine, just a little pulpy mess. I have another bag here which is going to be 2 loads. Give me a minute and I'll be back right now. There we go, all the fruit has been pulped up. I've got the bucket full to around half. I can show you what the mix looks like. It does not look very appetizing. All that it is crushed up blueberries and bottled water. Now going to use Camden tablets. It's just a little small tablet. You need to use 1 per gallon of water. Just place it on a spoon, crush and add the powder. I just need 2 of these. Sterilized brewing spoon. Give it a good mix to get it all in there. Bucket, lid, and fit an airlock. It will bubble back slightly, but as this is filled with star sand, it's not that big an issue. Fitting the airlock now, because tomorrow I don't want to be fiddling about trying to fit the airlock. It'll be ready for the next phase. Now this I need to leave stand for at least 24 hours. If I add yeast into this now, the sodium metabisulfite in the Camden tablets will actually stun the yeast and it will not have any chance of fermenting. Leaving it for 24 hours, adding a good rehydrated Lalvin D47 we will have fermentation in about 24-48 hours max. I don't use a temperature control setup, so I like to just let it take its time. So come back in 24 hours and we'll carry on with this one. And it's just over 24 hours since I got this pot ready. I've set up ready to do the next part. I have 4 pounds of wildflower honey and about 1.5 pints of water, which I've been shaking up. It's nicely dissolved. It's also getting some air into the mixture. I have my pectolase ready to stop protein haze. Warm water ready for the lalvin. It is at 40 degrees, about 105 Fahrenheit, and yeast nutrient. So I'm going to start with the lalvin. That goes into the warm water. Give it a good stir. And that can go off to the side for the next 20 minutes. In the meantime, I've not had any bubbling in this airlock, so I am confident that any wild yeasts have been killed. Also off to the side. Going to add pectolase. Just under 2 teaspoons. And a teaspoon of yeast nutrient. Give it a good stir. It does not look very appetizing at the moment, but that will change. Honey mixture. I've added in, like I said, 4 pounds of honey into this one. I found with blueberry meads, after about 2 weeks, you get almost like a good inch of muck and lees at the bottom. Give it a good mix around. And before any temperature correction, this is 1.102. The must is at 16 degrees, so it's a little bit cold. Keep stirring. Going to add this into the yeast slurry. And I'll be back in about 10 minutes when I'm ready to pitch this yeast in here, seal it up and take it upstairs. There we go. It's been about 20 minutes. So just give this another quick bit of a stir. Yeast gets a good stir. Pitch it in. Seal it up. And just top up the airlock with a little bit of water. There we go. Now I can put this into a nice stable temperature in a room. Every day I will be giving this bucket a bit of a shake until the airlock goes in meltdown. That starts removing some of the gas. I'll also punch the cap, and in 7 days I'm going to add more nutrient. This is going to take about 8 weeks to fully ferment and start clarifying. Next weekend is going to be another fruity mead, so join me then and we'll carry on with this challenge. Thank you very much.